Welcome to What Today. I'm Sophie, your pilot into the universe of Chinese. So let's continue with equestrian era concepts. And when the horses are with us, of course, with horse, that involves mobility, involves transportation, and war. When you become more mobile, I guess you want to roam a bigger land, therefore control bigger piece of land. So horses are tied with human warfares. So war, 战 is today's concept. And you can see simplified 战 versus traditional 战. The left side looks a lot more simple. They actually switch with a different concept, but same pronunciation character that kind of distort the meaning of what these icons are showing. So as a logographical language, sometimes this during the simplification era, which is 1958-ish, of this government level effort to simplify Chinese so that more Chinese people can take up words like this, write with a few strokes instead of like this many strokes, right? The act is novel. The intent was good, but the result would be simplification, sometimes distortion of what it would be. So I started learning of simplified Chinese, and for this, I just, wrote memory. It doesn't really make much sense to me. But I do know the right side here is a weaponry, is kind of a spear looking or axe looking, some kind of a pointy stuff. You can see many, many points here, sharp edges, not stable, not neutral character, but this with lots of dynamics going on here. So that I can relate to, weaponry. But the left side actually means fortune telling. So I guess you can associate a war can change a country's or the tribe's fortune. In that way, it can be this level, the consequence of war. You can probably use tangibly as fortune telling icon, but the original, as long as the 2,000 years ago's dictionary, they align because they kept the traditional Chinese kept. It's a direct lineage, just right more standardized with more kind of you see the 2000 years ago we still have corners of the mouse symbol here, but here it simplifies to boxes. So in that sense it is a simplification, but it kept the original structure and iconic meaning. So here the meaning is this is a spoke, and this is I forgot the term for that, but the stopper from keep the spoke from falling off the axle. So this whole thing here represent a chariot, a war chariot. So ancient times, the wheel was invented not only for transportation, just like today we commonly know of, but the wheel in ancient times means mobility, means war as well. So this wheel spoke imagery associated with this war machine chariot, and then we have two mouse symbols next to it. And the mouse symbols, originally I thought this is happy face with uh, corners of the mouth tilted upward. I romanticize it, but until I came across the icon that illustrated what mouse symbol came from, it actually is a container of food from the profile view, and these are the handles of the container. And because humans eating is a major thing for survival, right? So eventually we use this food container to represent this food consumer entry point, the mouse. And there you go. So two mouse next to the chariot means singular. Why? Because this is my logic. Okay, no, nobody, I haven't verified it too deep into it, but I think it makes sense. Okay, in wartime, imagine before cell phone or any other communication method, to effectively communicate and command a whole army, many, many people, right? Many live, it's a live situation and you have to respond live real time to what's happening on the battlefield. And so that person standing on the chariot, kind of a higher ground, elevated view, served as the commander to give orders to how each parts of the body of the war machine made of many, many human bodies should act in a coordinated way. So this mouse symbol, not just two, it means probably a group of runners. They serve as the human telephone back then to run between different parts of the layout of the military forces to tell different parts how to coordinate what to do. That's my best guess. And so this chariot with two mouse symbols next to it means singular, means during wartime only one voice can exist, and that's coming from one command chain. You don't have double message there. Cause confusion can be disastrous, right? So just one singular voice and plan, and everybody else listen to the same message and work out, coordinate in the same way. So that means singular. Singular plus this weaponry. So I guess picture a spear. That's the easier one. And in the Western war style, I guess, before the whole army fight, right? Oftentimes it's the general or the best fighters from each side elected to fight singularly with each other, almost like the opening scene that leads to the bigger group fight. So before the group fight of the two armies, there are two warrior, duel situation. And so that exactly is what that means. It means singular fight, one-on-one fight. And this one-on-one fight represent the whole warfare, can be of any scale. But nowadays, when we say war, because of it's in our contemporary context, we often think of war as bigger scale. Versus in ancient times, probably the impact was a lot lower, a smaller scale. It could be as bloody, but it was not like nowadays nuclear level of disastrous damage. All right, so that's 战略战术. Oftentimes we have those two next to each other, and oftentimes people try to differentiate. You see, we share the same 战, this war imagery on the left side, and then the right side is the differentiator. So what the two different? In English, 战略 is strategy, and 战术 is tactics. So if you see how we pair, what partner does 战 be with? So war outline, that is strategy. That means it doesn't come to the concrete maneuvers of each move or choreography or sequencing of things happening, but it got the principle, the outlines of how things should be done. And then 战术 techniques. 术 means techniques, like the methodology, the exact practice or procedure, how you should get something done. So this 术 is at a execution level, and this 略 is at a guiding principle or guardrail level, so that you don't make huge mistakes, even if you can be perfect with your tactics. But if you go directed the wrong way, eventually you will lead to the bad consequence you don't want. So 战略 means this outline, this guideline thing. Okay, 春秋战国 are two phases next to each other in China history. It's before the whole land of different countries made of many warring states, which is 战国 warring states, before they were united by the terracotta builder, Emperor Qin Shi Huang, before the first emperor in China unified the whole land. That was the chaotic time. But when we say it's chaotic, it's also a glorious time culturally in China, because there were so many competing cultures coexisting, different dialects, measurements, traits, or specialties of people, different subcultures, right, competing with each other. And that's the moments when all sorts of things are happening, and people start to, because there's such a diversity of land, of culture, of simultaneous ongoing regimes, and then people can theorize and come up with bigger visions of how things should be run. And that's the highly productive years, glorious golden days of Chinese philosophy. 春秋战国, we have Confucius, Taoism, all the major, when you think about the Oriental culture, mostly, originated or germinated during that era. 春秋战国started from 770 BC to 221 BC. So they are 2,000 to 3,000 years ago from us now. All right, so that's 春秋means spring, fall, the two seasons. And it came from a book by Confucius. And people eventually use his book to label the era of that time. And the 战国, warring states. And that, it's a war, right? So it's warring states era when at least, they may started with many war tribes. And then eventually, or regimes, eventually boiled down to 7 of them, and then Qin Shi Huang defeated all of them, united the whole land. Okay, 骁勇善战, valiant, brave. So you see here the horse symbol on the left. So here means a brave horse, and 勇 means bravery of people, and this horse and people synergy, okay, together mentioned here. 善战. Excel, we're good at war. So as we know, this war doesn't mean the whole scale war, it means one-on-one dual fighting. So this, even if I translate as a war, in our mind we know this. So this 战 came from this one-on-one fight. So excel at that. So when you have the good horse and the good soldier together, then you have this best combination, this great team. And then we're use 骁勇 to describe this best warrior, combination, warrior and horse combination, that they are going to be excel at fighting one-on-one. So here is a group fight scenarios, young man, and you see the sharp edges still, even if this is the gun era, then we did this spear still installed over there. So in case of any close body fight over there, right? So that's the war image. When I search internet, this one came up. And even if it doesn't represent one-on-one, it's a group one, we know that's war. This is what we probably best known, World War I or II eras, would be the best representation of what human wars feel like, look like in our memory. And even if we have hot wars, even today, that's deeply embedded in our memory. That's 战. Thank you, Shai. See you later.